My name is Nikhil Kumar, faculty of IT department in Akgec Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today I have a lecture on the cyber security. It is the lecture series, and today is the fourth one lecture. The code is a B6401. Basically, the cyber security is the subject of the B.Tech second year, CS and its allied branch. And today the topic is that we have discussed, that is the introduction to security and policies and the cyber laws regarding the cyber crimes, cyber security and all. Till today, what we have discussed regarding the cyber security, that is the point. What is the security and the cyber, the both terms that are used connectivity. Then uh, the most important part of the cyber security is how to aware about the security features, and who is the victim basically for the cyber criminals, who is the cyber criminals, and how can we avoid the term the cyber crimes. uh, what are the different type of cyber crimes in India and the worldwide societies, and how can we avoid. There are also some rules and regulations, protocols in India and overall worldwide, and we will discuss in today lectures what is the security and policies in India basically, and the cyber laws that are the worldwide are implemented till today, and what is expected to be performed in the next some years. In the BTech second year, CS and IT allied branch in the cyber security code, this topic is covered in the unit number 5, that is the introduction to security policies and cyber laws. So before we start the lectures, the main fundamental of this topic is discussed. What is the security policies? Basically, we know very well that all our programs and our mostly task regarding the computer data information access, retrieval and the updation of data is based on the our computer system and its fundamental tools using the internet services. When we use the internet service, we require some protocols, we follow some regulations, and when there are some basic clips is possible in the loophole is possible in the these protocols, and we can say that we did not maintain some rules, then we are the victims of the cyber criminals. So basically, who is the cyber criminals? Cyber criminals are the persons who did not follow the rule and regulations in the cyber, in the terms of the internet security policies. So the concept of and the topic is regarding that is the fundamental is that an information security policy is the documentation formations of the organization level decision on safeguarding information. Basically, information is that the collections of data that is very important to all of us when we are the part of an organization, institution and something else. So when we provide the security, when we provide the policy and we maintain the policy of regarding the security of the data of an organization, institutions, in the documentation form. Basically, it is the documentation form regarding the policy of the security of important data. The next term that is discussed, while designing an information security policy, it is too ideal to understand that information is an asset and the property of an organization. That is very, very important, because when we considered the information of data as an asset, then the importance of the data will be very clear to us, because we use the term retrieval of information, or we can say to updation of the data. Then it is very important to store the data, and when we use or share the information to any persons with our identity, that it's very important to know that when we use our identity, then the association of the data with us is discussed, and we can say include to important data when we share the information to a individual or any community or the society. Basically, the security policies is must design on the behalf of a persons, individual persons, any society or organizations or worldwide when we are the public domain persons and share some information in the internet, or we can say when we use the internet as a service host, or we are the client. The next term is the objective of information security policy is to protect the integrity. The term is the integrity, confidentiality, and the availability of information. When we record the data, it should be available at the time without any delay, because the transparency and the most important thing is the availability is most important in the policy of the information security. The next term is the an information security policy should be part of any organization's overall asset security policy, and the security policy standard and the procedures define a security measurement that is very important, because when we discuss the security guidelines and the protocols and the policies, it clear out to us that how important data it is and the what is the basic policies regarding the data security is controlled by the organization, because some important data is very important and not disclosed even the persons of the organization of all the hierarchy of a organization. The next term is the information security standard, that is the ISO. Basically, ISO is the information security standard, that is the international standard of organization that is established in the 1947 in the European country, and it is basically non-governmental international body that control the information security plans, design the some structure for the policies for the security purpose, and also maintain the integrity, and also represent itself for the security standard policies. And when the some information is collapsed, then it will be the this body is basically the uh, provide some informations and is mostly responsible for the maintaining all of these things. This ISO organization, that is a non-governmental organization, is collaborate the IEC, that is the International Electrotechnical Commissions, and also the ITU, that is the International Telecommunication Union, and provides much more information and provide the policy regarding the information data security. For India and the worldwide, when we use the some information or data plan, there are some measurements and some policies that is mentioned in the ISO IEC 27002, that is the 2005, that is the code of practice for the information security management. Basically, when the someone persons that are the part of an organization use the services of the organization and important data, and on the behalf of individual, when with the identity of the organization he shares or leakages some information, then it is also the part of the misconduct of data within the organization system. So basically, this standard specify guidelines and best practices recommendations for the following security domains, that are the domains that are provided in the ISO 2005, that is the code of practice for the information security management. First one is the security policy. All the policies that are regarding to the information security is considered. Next one is the organization for information security. Both are the term are different. The security policy is a generally term that are considered for the information security of data, and the organization for information security is basically the also contains the information and the hierarchy structure which have the rights to the individual persons, how much data they can access, and authorized and the authentications to a individual person of the organization. The next one is the information system acquisition, development, and the maintenance. The maintenance is basically provide the information that when some data is collapsed and is required to update in the policy of the security management, then it is considered. The next one is the information security incident management, is when it any situation when the data is collapsed and required to maintain the integrity and availability. So this is responsible for all of that. The next one is the business continuity management and compliances, because when the two different type of organization are connect to each other due to some common reason to perform some common objectives, so the common guidelines for the policy of the information security is very mandatory to discuss and to disclose to each of us. So this is basically the business continuity management and compliance is responsible for that over there. The next one is the ISO IEC 15408. Basically, these are the some code of conduct when it is responsible in the IT security policy. It is basically the evolution criteria for IT security and contains three parts. Basically, these are the numbers that are responsible and are maintained in the integrity of the criteria evolution for the IT security. This standard helps an organization in evaluating, validating, and certifying the security assurance of the technology product against various factors such as the security maintenance and the functional requirements specified in the standard. Basically, when we apply these code of conducts and check out these parameters to a organization, then this society, ISO society, with the collaboration with two different organizations, specify that organization is certified with these evolution parameters or not. So these are some standards that should be followed by an organization to maintain the integrity and to follow the ISO certifications. Next one is the introducing various security policies and their review process, because the review is most important, because some of the time it is very important to need to change and update the policy regarding on the basis of some criteria. Apart from designing and security policy, its review process is also essential and to ensure that the policy is appropriate and adequate for the organization that contains some standards. And also let's focus on the following type of security policy is discussed in the next PPT that focus on the review process. So the what is the www policy? Basically, when we use the internet services, this is the basic parameters that we should all of us know. That is the www policy. What is the internet is a network of network providing various services such as sending emails. Basic, these are the basic terminology and services that are considered in the internet on the behalf of the internet services. That is the email transferring files, login from remote system, the transferring files from one client to other one from a different within the organization, and the different organization from the connected with the identity of itself of individual persons and the organization also. And the www policies, it is the universe of the internet accessible information. While browsing the internet, there are various risks which are, these are the some risks that are considered. The examples of our WW policy with the risk are as follows. No offensive or harassing material may be made available through the company website. These are the basically organization's policy to maintain for all of the individual persons within a hierarchy to maintain the dignity. That is the no offensive or harassing material may be made available through the company website, because when any person is using the services of an organization, the most important thing is that his or her identity is also associated with the organization. Next one is the no personal commercial advertising should be made available through company website, because that is the part of the organization or the individual company, and the persons that are associated are the part also the asset of the company. But when he or she use a commercial advertising for the personal growth or some other purpose, it collapses the policy of the company websites. So no personal commercial advertising is applicable in the company websites. The personal material on or accessible from the website should be minimal. The no company confidential material should be made available because it collapses the policies, and the information of the organization should be leaked to the other company, and it will be very dangerous and hazardous to the company organizations management also. User, if an organization should not be permitted to install or run web servers, because most of the time what's happened, the individual organization or the company contains its private database to install and use the all the connectivity. When it's required, it use the its personal web servers. So the information should not be leaked from its private web servers to the other public domain servers. Next one is the email security policies. What should it be? The email can be used not only to improve the communications only purpose between the employees, because the email is basically used for the communication purpose in the formal way. So it should be transmit property in properly information, harasses other users, engage in illegal activities, and serve as the evidence against the company. Because when someone on the behalf of an organization, individual persons share a message or send a mail, then the company association and the integrity is also associated with the email integrity, email attachment. So on the behalf of that email, the company is also responsible on to share that email and have the confidentiality and authentication also. You will demonstrate the same respect I gives the verbal communication, because when we use the verbal communication, it is the same some other definitions, while we use the basically in the verbal and the written form that have the same different meaning. You will not send any chain letter, because it is a proper guidelines of when to share the mail, what should be the attachment in proper, and what are the words and the connections of words and the repetitions of email and the follow of the email, also the some guidelines. You will not transmit unsolicited mass email unto anyone. You will not send messages that are hateful, harassing, or treating unto the fellow users, because these are considered as the violent impact on the individual person or the uh, company follow members, because these terms are the very impactful in the environment of the society or the organization. You will not send any message that support illegal or unethical activities are discussed earlier. The next one is the corporate policies. What should it be? This is the formal declarations of the principles and the procedures according to which a company will operate, because these corporate policies are already discussed to all of the employees when they are the part of the organization. To in the starting time period, these principles or guidelines are laid down to be the board of director of a company or the senior management, because that is a very important part, and to introduce the corporate and the industry policies regarding to how to perform and what is the integrity should be maintained is known to all of the employees of the organization. It contains the company mission statement and company objectives with some its principle and measurements and some guidelines that are used in the all of the time that are associated with the corporate. The next one is the a corporate policy also lay down the factor for measuring performance. It is based on the performance factor and the ensuring accountability at all the level of the organization. It is also known as the company policy because it is defined after the analysis of the internal and the external factor affecting the organization objective. The most important thing is that any corporate or industry is based on the development, is based on some the have the common objectives to achieve at whole of the session time period. So they maintain some integrity and on the behalf of some objectives, that is the mission is connected with the some mission with objective and some rule and regulations to all of that, and to maintain such type of principles, the common objective of the organization is should be achieved, will achieve. The next one is the policy review process, because after a long time when it is measured that the policy of the organization should be maintained to integrate and to update time to time. So these are 6 important steps to perform while evaluating the information, and they are: the first one is that when we discuss the policy review process, the first one is that what are the lag behind loophole of the organization that are not discussed in the earlier policy of the organization, and it should be review of that time, and have some other than the person who wrote the policy to review it. Accessing policy for completeness, all the policy should be measurement in the documentation format of the policy of the organization, that is the specific, should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time bound, because time to time it should be changed, and requirement to update is very mandatory, because timely it have some generate some loophole. Ensure the policy answer the 5 W's numbers, that is very important and discussed in the next one PPTs. Ensure the consistency with the laws, regulations and other level of policy. Some of the policies should be reviewed, but it contains the its basic and raw structure as the same as the previous one. Checking policy freshness and easy availability to organizations member. It should be very important, because when the persons of the organization is collaborate with the organization and to communicate with other one persons, they they have to know all the policy and also the review policy. And what is the very important part is the what should be the impact of the policies have laid down to the individual person and the management of the organization. The next one is the introduction to the Indian cyber law. Basically this is the requirement of the technical communications and the technical societies which are connected through the internet services. When we share some information to the any individual person or the organization, it should be changeable. So this is the basic requirement of the Indian cyber law of the society. This topic will be discussed in the next video lectures and so on. Some important that we already discussed in the first PPT will be discussed in the next video lectures. For today it is complete. Thank you very much.